Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope everything's good wherever you are. So, guys, I was watching an interview from Dmitry Bivol, and he said, before I get into it, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, share the video, guys, as you always do. Make sure to smash the like button. I really appreciate when you guys smash the like button. Let's get these likes to 100 plus, man. I put up a Khan Marku video. Go and smash the like button on that as well, please. The more likes, the better the algorithm for the channel. So yeah, I'd appreciate if you smash the like button. Dmitry Bivol said that, Canelo Alvarez is not human. Canelo Alvarez is human, and I will give him another L on his record. I have what it takes to beat Canelo Alvarez. I'm not afraid of Canelo Alvarez. I'm not afraid of what he brings. I respect his skills, but I'm going there to put another loss on his record. See, when you've got guys in the ring like Canelo Alvarez, Mike Tyson, guys like that, a lot of guys go into the ring feared. Like Golovkin had that kind of effect when he was in his prime, where a lot of guys were kind of beaten before they even got in the ring. You've got to believe in your skills, and it's hard to do. It's a very, 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 very difficult mindset to have when you're going in with somebody that you know can crack, and that's dangerous. Sometimes half the battle is lost outside the ring mentally. Like Mike Tyson had a real thing over his opponents, where before they used to go in the ring, a lot of guys used to be shook to their boots of Mike Tyson. And when they got in the ring, they kind of already had lost. Before they got in the ring, sorry, they already had lost. They'd kind of like, lost the fight before they got in the ring because they were so intimidated by the Iron Mike. Mike Tyson, you didn't know what he was going to do. He was so aggressive. So, like, I can, look, imagine if I, for example, I'm just trying to think, I'm not a fighter, but if I was going in the ring with somebody like a Mike Tyson, how nervous would I be? How would I be able to control those emotions? How would I be able to keep myself under check, emotionally before getting in that ring? How, what things would be going off in my head? Because things that are going off in your head can mentally exhaust you, before you get in the ring. You're overthinking, you're nervous, the anxiety, all these things which we don't look at. We just as fans look at them, trading in the ring. There's a lot of things that you have to prepare yourself mentally for, because when you're fighting in front of such a big stage, on TV and in front of a massive crowd, that's something that can really get to you. So you have to be mentally prepared when you're going inside that ring. And some fighters, when they were going up against Mike Tyson, they were overawed. Not so much. I'm pretty sure certain fighters might have not been affected by the crowd and stuff, but by what they were expecting to happen in the ring with Mike Tyson, because they knew Mike Tyson was such an aggressive, vicious guy inside that ring. And they were, of course, anyone would have fear when you see a guy absolutely obliterating everyone that he's fighting. When you go inside that ring, you're gonna be definitely, there's gonna be a bit of fear there. It's very difficult. Fear, not even so much like you're scared of the guy, which I think some Mike Tyson had that effect where, I think actually guys were scared of him. I don't think a lot of fighters have that kind of fear factor that Mike Tyson had. And Canelo doesn't have the same fear factor that Mike Tyson had. But I definitely think that a lot of guys going in the ring with Canelo, probably not believing in themselves. They say a lot, in the press conferences and stuff, but do they actually believe when they're inside that ring that their skills are good enough to beat Canelo Alvarez? I think it is. They may think that, but as soon as they get in the ring and a couple of rounds and they realize how good he is, but you're going to need someone special. You're going to need somebody with a very, very strong, mentally strong individual with a great mindset, a very highly skilled fighter, naturally gifted, highly skilled fighter to beat someone like Canelo Alvarez. You're gonna have to have someone on that level because Canelo Alvarez right now is on the top of his game. He's a technically very, very sound fighter, a very, very technically sound fighter, and he's got a great chin. He's got great stamina. He kind of like there's not many weaknesses. The only weakness you could probably say he's a little bit slow on his feet, but even that he's improved massive. He's improved so much on that. His feet have become so much more educated that like this guy's a complete animal. Canelo right now is an animal. Like he's a complete fighter. He's the fighting machine, Canelo Alvarez. It's like Mike Tyson got as he was fighting guys that were better, like Evander Holyfield. And I wouldn't want to say better because I feel like Mike wasn't the same Mike. Mike had a career early on in his career, and people say, well, who did he fight? I honestly think, and people may disagree, that Mike Tyson would have blown anyone away in when he was young and in his prime. But when he fought all the names that, went on to become greats like your Lennox and Evander Holyfield, I don't think Mike was Mike at that point. I don't think Mike was Mike. I don't think Mike was the same fighter. And this is why a lot of fighters, this is why I find Canelo so incredible. And I'm going off on a tangent. But Canelo, Mayweather, Pacquiao, these are guys that had such a long run. And they were great for so long. You know what I mean? And that's why I respect that, because guys like Mike had a very short window. He had a window where he looked phenomenal. But that's usually a sportsman. Like in combat sports, usually most fighters have like a 3-4 year window where they're spectacular. Then they drop. You look at Conor McGregor. Even Amir Khan. There was a point in Amir Khan's career where he was phenomenal. But then he kind of dropped. He never kind of hit those levels again. But it was short. McGregor had a short run. Khan had a short run. Mike Tyson, again, had a short run. But it's very difficult to have prolonged success in combat sports. Very few fighters have been able to be great for like 10 years straight, right at the top. They're definitely, like Pacquiao was different because Pacquiao took losses, but Pacquiao was still great. He came back and he came back from defeat and did great stuff after defeats as well. Pacquiao was just phenomenal like that. Bearing in mind, I do think, some of Pacquiao's defeats, like Jeff Horn and Bradley, weren't defeats. So really, when you think about it, who did he lose to? Marquez, Mayweather. That's about it, really, in a good 10-year span. Pacquiao hardly lost when you think about it. Yeah, because, look, for me, the Bradley and Horn losses were robberies. So when you think about it, he only really lost to Marquez and Mayweather. And they're like Mayweather and Marquez, and let's be honest, he was beating the brakes of Marquez prior to the knockout. So again, Pacquiao had a phenomenal run, but that's why when I look at someone like Canelo Alvarez, I give him a lot of respect, and I have to say he's a great fighter, because he's not just had success for a couple years; he's had the success for a very prolonged period of time. In terms of Bivol saying that I'm going to go in there and I'm not afraid. I think Bivol is a very, 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 very good fighter. He's a very, very good fighter. I think Bivol's going to have to be able to hurt Canelo. And when I mean hurt, not necessarily wobble him or drop him and stuff like that, be able to make Canelo respect his power. If Bivol can do that, then Bivol has a good chance in this fight. If he can't, then, it's a wrap. Canelo will batter him and just beat down on him and eventually, take him into deep waters and drown him. That's what Canelo does. Canelo hasn't got devastating knockout power at the, heavier weights. I think we've seen that. He's not knocking guys out cold, but look, he did knock out Plant. He did break Billy Joe's face. But Bivol, for me, is technically, I believe Bivol is technically better than those guys. I do. I think Bivol is a better fighter than Billy Joe. I think Bivol is a better fighter than Plant. Bivol is a very, very good fighter. And look, I think you guys realize that as well. I think a lot of you guys are saying that, look, Canelo's had a great run and Canelo's been a great fighter and we respect Canelo. But we can see that Canelo might lose this fight. And I think a lot of Canelo fans realize that, you know what, Canelo's been getting a lot of praise, and that's great, and Canelo's done really well. But we have to realize what Canelo Alvarez is doing. But here's the problem: we automatically think Canelo's gonna go in and beat everyone, and by doing this, when Canelo does beat, if Canelo does, which I think he will, I think he'll beat Bivol. We're kind of underplaying what he's doing. We're kind of not giving him the respect for what he's actually doing, because we just think this guy's some kind of monster and some kind of, like, he's just on another level. But really, we're underplaying him beating someone like Dmitry Bivol, because Bivol is such a good fighter. Bivol ain't Billy Joe, or Bivol ain't Plant. Bivol is next level. Bivol is a great fighter. So if Canelo was to beat him, it's going to be very difficult. And we're kind of underplaying, firstly, how big Bivol is compared to Canelo. And then on top of that, how skilled he is. So for Canelo to overcome a guy with that size and that kind of skill, that's phenomenal. But Canelo is such a favorite in every fight. It's kind of like the victories are being underplayed. It's like, you know, people are saying, well, Canelo can't be an all-time great, because who's he really fighting? Who are the guys? These guys are not that great. But we're underplaying how good Dmitry Bivol is. Dmitry Bivol would be a horrible, like, Dmitry Bivol would be a hard fight for Andre Ward. Dmitry Bivol would be a problem for Andre Ward, without question. Arthur Beterbiev would be a problem for Andre Ward. There's no doubt about it. You know, and this is a guy that we say is great and stuff. You know, I feel like, I feel like, you know, sometimes Canelo doesn't get the respect. He doesn't seem to get the respect that, you know, he deserves. Because at the end of the day, this is a guy that's been fighting. He's been fighting everybody, really. And now he's fighting, in my opinion, arguably the number 2 light heavyweight. Some may say he's the best light heavyweight. You know, and again, we're just making out like Canelo's a massive favorite and Canelo's going to walk through him. But we're kind of if Canelo does win, we're kind of underplaying what Canelo is doing, because we just expect him to go in there and win, when really, you know, there's a chance that Canelo may lose this fight without question. So I think Canelo deserves a lot more respect than what he actually gets for some of these victories. But this one, definitely, I think he deserves a lot. If he was managed to beat Dmitry Bivol, then I'm definitely going to be giving Canelo a lot of praise for this, because, like I said, I think we all recognize that he could lose this fight. He could definitely lose this fight. In terms of, you know, Dmitry Bivol saying Canelo isn't unbeatable, yeah, probably isn't. This is what I mean. Maybe he's been fighting guys that are below his level. So Canelo might be beatable, you know. He has been beaten before, but that was a long time ago. At this version of Canelo, it's going to take someone special to beat him. Maybe Bivol is that guy. Maybe Bivol is that guy that is special, you know. We just have to wait and see. We just have to wait and see. But time will tell. Time will tell. I do think that this is going to be a spectacular fight. This is going to be a spectacular fight. Although, like I said, I said a week ago that I'm not actually excited like it would have been a Charlo fight, but I'm excited for the matchup. I'm excited because you know what, when it comes to like guys like Benavidez and Plant and Billy Joe, because you know why you're excited, because there's a lot of trash talk, because the build-up is good as well. Bivol isn't going to talk trash, neither is Canelo going to talk trash, so it's not exciting from that sense, but the fight itself will be quite excited. But yeah, exciting in the sense that Canelo could possibly lose this fight, you know, but we're kind of like just living in our little world where we just think Canelo's going to blow everyone away, and we forget to realize that some of these guys that are light heavyweight are no joke, you know. But yeah, leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Smash the like button, guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.